Okay, I'd like to, it's 9 o'clock. Want to bring the meeting to order. You have your cell phones, please turn them off or mute them for the meeting. We are short someone on the committee, so I'd like to appoint Keen Hudson to the committee so we can have a quorum. Keen, would you be able to? Yep. And then with that, Becky, could you do roll?
I sure can. Jack Scrogstead,
Here.
Allie Huss, Dean Friel,
Here.
Katie White, Ron Gascoigne, Chris Norberg,
Here.
Keen Hudson.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna check with the public attendees. See, we have Greg Gates again with us. Greg has submitted to the committee a Reagan Mass Transit report, and as a public attendee, would you like to share that with us?
Thank you, Jack. I'll just hit some highlights. Ridership is continuing to grow, especially now that obviously more schools are back in session, including community colleges. And I will tell you that also ridership in rural Winnebago is also gaining some traction as we talk further and more people are aware of that ridership option for the rural section of Winnebago County. I do have some good/great news that our construction for the Oregon office is about to take a huge step as we're going to go out for bids for a general contractor now that IDOT has given pre-bid concurrence on our project. So look for hopefully a groundbreaking and an announcement soon in terms of that option for local generals to bid on that project. We are moving the transit desert study from here in Lee County. And for the most part, that section of the study has been completed. And we are now going to start working in the Ogle County area in terms of doing key stakeholder interviews, a general public survey, and some focus groups for the next probably 5 to 6 months. Look for a final report on transit desert study that we're partnering with NIU on. And hopefully we'll have that final report to you by the end of the next calendar year. Other than that, we're just continuing to plod along with our trucks or buses. And unless there's any questions, that is my report.
Thank you, Greg. Continue to do great things out there, providing this service for the citizens of Lee County and now going into Ogle, and you're tapping into the Winnebago area. So I appreciate that, what you guys are doing over there. With that, we'll move to the approval of the minutes. If everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes, if there are no changes or corrections to the minutes from the October 14th meeting, they'll be stand as presented. So anything? Okay. All right. So it'll be stand as presented. Okay. Let's go into the department's reports. We'll start with transportation and solid waste. Dave Anderson, would you like to walk the committee through your report and also the MFT resolution on the agenda?
Sure. So pretty much contract work has been wrapped up. So that's the work's done, but the paperwork isn't. So we're working on all the closeout paperwork on the 2025 work, in addition to putting the 2026 projects together. So office-wise, that's what we're busy with. Had our Monday morning staff meeting and sort of all the activities listed there on the maintenance bullet points. We went over and those will be in process this week as well. And that's about it for departmental activities. We do have the annual motor fuel tax maintenance resolution. What I should have done is I should have also included the estimate of cost, so you knew kind of all the different line items that this number on the resolution involves. But essentially the same thing that was presented to Finance Committee back in, I don't know, whatever it was, June or August, or whenever we had August when we had our hearings. It's just things like shoulder stone and patch mix and the paint for the striping and road signs, and I got a couple $100,000 plugged in there on a hot mix job and those sorts of things. So that's really what it is. And then the $420,000 that gets transferred for MFT eligible work from MFT to county highway. But that's what that's what it entails. The board doesn't have to approve the estimate per se. I sign that and then IDOT approves that, but you do have to approve the resolution at county board. So.
Okay, thanks. You know, I was looking over the motor fuel thing, and it got me thinking about the latest Illinois General Assembly veto vote that took place, and I think there were some significant changes related to the motor fuel tax. Can you kind of just briefly kind of go over how that may affect Lee County's highway department?
Sure. And I'd also ask Greg. Oh, Greg left. I was going to say if I got my percentages wrong, he could let me know as far as how it impacted transit. But the motor fuel tax collections and the transportation revenue fund, those funds will stay essentially status quo. What changed, in my understanding, is that there was there is sales tax also charged, just like if you bought a candy bar, there's sales tax charged. There's sales tax charged also on a gallon of fuel. And that sales tax, I'll just say historically, has gone to Illinois' general revenue account. But in recent years, some of that was getting transferred into IDOT's road fund. And that's now going to about $800 million worth going to transit. The second component to that was the interest on the money that was in IDOT's road fund, which amounted to somewhere around $200 million. Also gets thrown over to the transit side of the equation. And as I understood it, it was about 80% went to Chicago RTA and 20% to downstate transit. Is the breakdown.
90-10, pretty close.
Was it 90-10?
Yeah.
So does it impact us directly right now as we sit here? No. The only thing I could speculate on in terms of impact would be, as you recall, as Jeremy brought up last meeting, there was $400 million out for sort of a competitive process for projects in the local projects funding program, they called it, which we were able to receive some of that money for a paving job. And I think there was a desire by IDOT to continue that, into the future. I don't know how many years, but I think there was a desire to do that. This transfer of funds around could impact that. I don't know that for certain, but those are the sorts of impacts I see are possible.
Well, thanks for kind of clarifying a little bit of that for us and for for Lee County. Anybody got any questions for David? And also the recycling.
Yep. Yeah, on the recycling note, the electronics is closed for the season, will reopen April 1st.
Okay.
Took about 4 loads in. What was it? Somewhere around 70,000 pounds worth for the year.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the motor fuel resolution. Is there a motion to move the motor fuel tax appropriation resolution to executive committee for inclusion on the November County Board agenda? Moved by Dean Friel, seconded by Chris Norberg. Any discussion on that? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so let's work our way down to the next department, Assessor's Office, GI and GIS. Jennifer would like to walk the committee through your report, please.
Good morning. So the assessment office continues its daily operations, transferring deeds, tracking permits, processing exemptions, and assisting taxpayers. We are through September 2025 for our deed transfers right now. And Also, our newest employee, Carmela Ziegler, who's been in our office for just shortly over a year. She has recently completed her Certified Illinois Assessing Officer, CIAO training. So she now joins the rest of our assessment office as a certified member of the Illinois assessing community. So we want to congratulate Carmela on accomplishing that. So I feel very thankful that I have an office of very qualified and educated staff, and they're continuing their education yearly. So I'm happy about that. Our assessment year, we're still focusing on finalizing our 2025 valuation for publication. Once finalized, the assessed values will be compiled and submitted to the clerk and recorder's office for publication, and the assessment appeal season will go into board of review season. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And looking ahead, following publication, the office will prepare for, like I said, board of review season and begin early planning for 2026 assessment year with more staff training and continuing education opportunities. And that's kind of where we're at with the assessment office right now. GIS department continues to support our parcel updates and mapping requests for the assessment office and other county department, and collaborate with the city of Dixon and Lee County 911 with the Esri Enterprise Agreement is ongoing. So I'll let Sammy talk a little bit more about what's been going on in the GIS world if nobody has any questions for me.
Any question for Jennifer? Jennifer, thanks.
Thank you.
For everything you guys are doing.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Sammy, would you like us to walk us through your report?
Thank you, Jack. Good morning, everybody. At the GIS department, we continued maintaining parcel data by processing all parcel split and combination requests for September and updating the corresponding GIS layers. We also completed zoning changes and ensured the zoning layer was consistently updated across all GIS applications and mapping platforms. In support of public safety, we updated the NG 911 and 911 GIS datasets to help maintain accurate and reliable emergency response mapping systems. In support of zoning and building operations, we assisted with new address assignments, scanned and printed several maps, and completed iWork training to enhance our operational capabilities. Additionally, we submitted updated GIS data to the Illinois Department of Revenue to keep our records current and compliant with state requirements. Last month, we had the opportunity to attend the 2025 Illinois GIS Association annual conference to explore emerging GIS technologies and share our work through an interactive story map and 3D printed map. Finally, we enhanced the Parcel Viewer web application by improving its search functionality and overall user experience. That's all I have. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions for Sammy? Sammy, I'm just amazed at all the different stuff that you guys do over there. So I really appreciate all the work and the keeping informed of the technology that's available out there, and just keep it up. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Any
you.
questions for Sammy?
Appreciate your support.
Okay, no questions. Let's go to County Board. Jeremy, you got something to share with us?
Yeah, I
You
got a
always
couple-
got something to
I
good
got a
to share
couple
with us.
things, just to make sure that I clarify some of the, what I was just responding to Dave's part here. So essentially, there's two splits for the transit side within that omnibus. There's a sales tax on MFT, which is that estimated $860 million. That's an 85-15 split. The 90-10 is the road fund interest that they're breaking out. So
I knew
It's-
it was it was up there just
Yeah.
as much. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Moving forward, I had spoke last month about BEAD awards, which is the broadband funding that the state of Illinois is executing with internet service providers that they had picked their initiatives and programs on. We had been reached out to recently by Surf Broadband, which had the most significant award from the state of Illinois for Lee County, roughly a little over almost $13.5 million in project funds. They reached out to myself, Dave and Chairman Olson. And we have a meeting set with them on the 20th to discuss their project and what that impact looks like for Lee County. So we should be able to give more information after that. But we just want to make sure that we're working with these providers, as they move forward, what if there's negative and positive impact? Obviously, the positive impact is that, we've been really trying to get connectivity throughout the county for our residents. This is that project that we've been working on for almost 2 years. And the county has worked on that on a very similar project, roughly 4 years ago. So this is a great thing as we're trying to expand connectivity. But we just want to make sure that we're looking at all impacts, both positive and potentially negative, as they continue to, these providers continue to work at laying out their infrastructure throughout the county and what we need to look at, making sure that we're identifying exactly where these things should go and why, and if we have any input on that. So again, we're very excited that there's the funding coming into the county, and we're going to have more residents connected to broadband and fiber networks, and that's a fantastic positive. So we're excited about the meetings here in the future.
I often travel Lost Nation Road, and I believe SURF or the company is digging for a line leading out to the Lost Lake community. I'm assuming that part of that BADE project helped that get going on that roadway, or is that a previous, do you think? Because it seemed like they were working that way prior to us receiving, some.
Yeah, so they have they'd been expanding east towards Grandy Tour and Lost Nation already. Right. They had part of that as their BEAD project, as well as an expansion to the south, so around Amboy, Sublette, and those other areas.
I mean, it's just awesome. I know the people in that area are excited about getting some fast internet out there.
Yeah, it's a great thing. I mean, and Dave could talk a little bit about it. I mean, he gets the permits for these companies that are running fiber lines, I mean, pretty consistently. And he kind of talk about his, the previous experience from the county's, perspective of how these permits had been coming in and how often to what we're going to be expecting with his office is probably a pretty big boom of permits coming through, because there are millions and millions of dollars of funds coming to the county for connection activity.
It's awesome. Okay. Any questions for Jeremy on anything else?
Yes, sir. You want to turn your mic on? Thank you.
So yeah, regarding the broadband initiative, so SURF had already been coming through this region, Dixon and the surrounding areas, and to the north and some other counties, Frontier is making a big inroad. And in both cases, some of their accidental fire breaks have affected Lee County services. So hopefully they'll wrap up their install and deploy their fiber and get it done, so there's no more interruptions here. So thanks.
Yeah, and if you want, I mean, I guess your report's coming up, so you're going to be able to speak a little bit more on that. But there has been some, very serious negative implications to, all of this work, as it is disrupting our services, not just residential and consumer services, but also, from the public sector side.
Right.
So
Public
it's
safety, 911, all that kind of stuff.
very much.
Yep. Okay. Any other? Next, we'll go to County Clerk and Recorder, Nancy.
Good morning. Filing date for petitions was a week ago today. We had 42 petitions filed in my office. The list is available online. If you go take a look at that, it's under March 17th, 2026 general primary election. As of 5 o'clock last Monday, I would like to let this board know that there's no one that has filed against myself as the clerk. No one has filed against the treasurer, Paul Rodolfi. No one has filed any petitions against the sheriff. at this time. There is the January 15th deadline to be a write-in, and then they can also, sometime in June, they can file petitions to be a write-in. So that's my report. Any questions?
Thanks, Nance. Any questions? All right, let's move down. Paul, your IT. You want to go ahead?
Thank
with your
you.
report?
So I'd just like to say, in no significant order of importance, but the IT department has partnered with BEST over the last 4.5 years to place interns here. And our most recent BEST intern, Jared Hanley, found a new job, and we wish Jared well. And in the last 4.5 years, we've had 4 BEST interns, workforce development interns, and both Jonathan and Travis came to us from those programs. So I feel it's a very valuable partnership, and I look forward to working with BEST in the future for additional interns. Countywide, we have, as a matter of fact, if you know anybody who's willing to take $15 an hour, it's a special BEST program, and work no more than 290. BEST has got a little bit of money right now in a special program. So I'd be glad to take on another intern over the holiday season here. We're continuing to do computer replacement deployments in various county offices, hence my request for another intern. We're wrapping up some Windows 10 to Windows 11 security migrations, and we're anticipating assisting GIS on a recent support issue, I suppose, on the backups, but then on the parcel mapping going forward. And then this week, actually tomorrow, Travis and I are coming in on the holiday to work with SBM to replace some multifunction printers at the LEC. Jail staff felt that worked out the best since the courts were shut down, and they're deploying 5 new printers. So Travis and I are going to come in on a day where it works best for LEC staff. And then eventually, hopefully in the next 2 weeks now, we're deploying a new server for the detective data, which keeps on growing. And just as a reminder, we have to store certain data as long as the investigations are ongoing. And according to Illinois State Police guidelines, maintain data for as long, if it led to a conviction. So we have to keep it kind of indefinitely. So the data requirements keep growing. And then talking about fiber, we're installing a new internet fiber connection to the LEC and animal control. And the goal is to wrap this up by the first week of December. They're actually going to be in there today, terminating some fiber ends. And then in doing so, we've extended our kind of partnership with Reagan Mass Transit to offer them kind of piggybacking off of our fiber and our phone system. But as part of this upgrade to animal control and LEC, Reagan Mass Transit separating completely from our network. They're going to have their own connection, their own phone system, and that'll be the end of any support directly that we provide to Reagan Mass Transit in terms of any IT services. And hopefully that'll wrap up in the next few weeks here. And then we're doing a Microsoft Office tenant migration. There'll be more on that, essentially moving from one home in Office 365 to another. And then regarding kind of phone systems and fiber issues and the like, we had Shelley was having some issues for the last couple of weeks with some phone quality issues for phone calls being placed into 911, but it just wasn't 911. It was other carriers in the region. Then they had another interruption in service for some of the non-emergency 911 numbers. So Shelley, Mike, and I, along with multiple telecommunication companies, worked together to resolve both of the issues that were interrupting service or the quality of calls to the 911 center. And Shelley is quite relieved and thankful to all the parties involved. And it just seemed to be, we had to just kind of bang a few heads together to get them to all talk and play nice. And everybody was finger pointing, but when it was all said and done, they all agreed that they have to improve communication amongst themselves in the future and when reporting and escalating problems, which I felt was a plus coming out of the negotiations. So things have settled down there and resolved that. But we've had issues over the last few years as people continue or companies continue to roll out new fiber installs and the like. And even on the highway, sometimes when IDOT's doing some work, they splice a fiber line. They're usually pretty quick in patching it back up, but some of the other vendors take a few more hours. And so sometimes we've been down for 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours without critical internet service. So one, I'm hoping that the new fiber connection to the LEC improves that reliability, because that's kind of the Syndios will be providing that fiber service, and they have a redundant line that comes into Dixon, so kind of a backup for us. And those are the current ongoing projects that I have. There's some other to-dos, but I'd like to get these wrapped up before I start anything new and fresh. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. All right, let's move to ROE, Chris Tennyson. Hey, welcome back, Chris.
Thank you. Everyone, I hope, got a copy of my report. I know we have a lot going on in October. It was like a 20-pager, so I won't take long. I'll just hit a couple highlights. We did host our fall superintendent's meeting. I had 22 of my 24 superintendents there. It was very productive, focused on improving their relationship with their school board members, and then did a session on AI in education and how it's changing things and how to get better prepared for it. So that went really well. We also hosted a meeting with the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration out of Chicago. They're the service that provides weather updates for our superintendents when they're deciding to call school and maybe have to leave early or start late. And it was nice that 2 of them drove all the way out to Sterling just to meet with our superintendents to find out how they can better serve them and get information better to them in a timely fashion this winter, so they can make educated decisions if they do have to have it affect the school day. All of our school districts have received their draft report on their school report cards. It's a new system this year, so there'll be some new information as to how those schools are rated. Angie Garza in our professional development department are working with all of our school districts on understanding their designations and making sure there's any corrections that need to be made in the system or anything that needs to be reported to ISB before the official ratings come out later on this fall. There's an update in there on our Nexus and attendance systems. They're very busy. We're hoping that we don't have to do this too often, but we have met with Charlie Boonstra, Mike Rock, and Colleen Buckwalter, the 3 states attorneys in the 3 counties, to make sure we understand what they need from us if we ever have to refer a chronic truant to their office if it gets to that point. So we had good productive meetings and conversations about what that would look like if we start to get students to that point. We hosted our annual Pathway Playground on October 17th out at Sauk Valley Community College. We have more than 50 local businesses and over 1,300 middle school students from across the region come through and kind of engage in hands-on career exploration activities and learn about careers that are available to them here in the Sauk Valley area. That was a phenomenal event. And then our Parents as Teachers program, along with our Education Outreach program, got together and hosted a joint event at our office where they brought in Sterling PD, Sterling Fire Department, and CGH Ambulance EMTs to talk to our students who have gotten their high school diploma by way of testing about careers, and then some parenting skills for our Parents and Teachers program for parents that wanted to get educated a little bit on things they could be doing better for their kids. Our Education Outreach program is rolling again this year. We've had our first 2 graduates of the year. We've had 24 students that have earned their diploma with us now that we're working on career skills with and hopefully job placement. And we have 60 active students that are going through training right now to be able to take their test and pass their test to get their high school diploma. And we're rolling another year at Center for Change. It's hard to believe we're coming up on Thanksgiving, but I just want to give a shout out to Candlelight and the management of all the Candlelight restaurants in the area. But every year they provide Thanksgiving dinner for our students and staff out at at the school. They provide most of the food for that, free of cost. And then I was actually at a superintendent's meeting at the Rock Falls Candlelight last month, and a teacher walked in with about 6 of our students from the Center for Change, and I kind of went over there, and it was we applied for a grant that we got from the state so that we can help our students get better prepared for the workforce at our alternative school. Well, it was actually that class, and Candlelight gave them free lunch just to come out with the instructor, so the instructor could work with them on what a business lunch would look like, or how to conduct themselves properly at a business luncheon. So it was just awesome that Candlelight also did that for us for free too. So we've enjoyed partnering with them, and they've been doing a lot of good things for our school. But I'll take any questions about my report.
Any questions for Chris? Yes, I'd have to say the Candlelight people have been a big family-owned business in this area, Sterling Rock Falls area, for many, many years, and they've been really good to the community. So yes, they should be recognized. So with that, we'll move to Veterans Assistance. Jim's not here, but he did provide us with a report of the different things going on with the veterans. So we appreciate Jim providing that to us. So then let's move to zoning and planning. Alice, would you like to walk us through your report and the items that you have on the agenda?
Sure. Good morning. Actions going to the zoning hearing officer on November 26th are none. We will also not have any new business going to the Planning Commission on December 1. Action coming from the zoning hearing officer this month. 2 petitions were heard. However, only one of them is going to be coming before the county board. The first one, petition number 25P 1652 by Rick Applequist, was a petition for variance. Following the public hearing, Mr. Applequist opted to move his proposed structure to meet the required setbacks. Therefore, his petition is withdrawn. Petition number 25P 1653 by Coventine Fidus and his wife Deanna. They acquired a small, about 1/1500th of an acre parcel adjacent to their existing subdivision. They would like to incorporate this little strip of land in their subdivision. It is currently zoned ag, and so they must first rezone it to residential, R2 single-family residential. So the public hearing was heard on this. I heard from Hearing Officer Brian Brim this morning. He anticipates having his report ready by tomorrow, so I will be presenting his recommendation to executive on Thursday. Action coming from the Planning Commission, we have petition number 25 PC 80 by the Lee County Zoning Office. This is the petition, or a petition for text amendment, where we were looking to limit the number of livestock or farm animals allowed in the R1 district. And secondly, allowing the use of chickens, a restricted use of chickens in the R2 district. The public hearing on this petition took 2 nights. And at that conclusion, the Planning Commission provided a recommendation to approve with 1 change to the proposed language. We did have 3 members from the village of Sublette there present. Sublette overall does not want any chickens. They were really not in support of the petition. However, that was the only opposition that the county received. The next petition coming from the Planning Commission is 25 PC 81 by Coventine Fidus. This is a petition for preliminary plat approval. Like I referenced earlier, he had filed a petition to amend the map for a small strip of land that he intends to incorporate in his subdivision. This preliminary plat is the second part that he will need to do in order to make that happen. That received a recommendation to approve from the Planning Commission. The last petition coming out of planning is petition number 25 PC 82, also by Coventine Fidus. This is specific to his subdivision known as Twin Oaks off of Kilgore Road. He is also re-subdividing one of the lots in this subdivision and therefore had to file a petition for preliminary plat. And that received a recommendation to approve from the Planning Commission. Other action coming from the zoning office is, you may know, the 2025 veto session concluded on October 31st. Only one bill was vetoed. While only one vetoed bill was voted on, over a half a dozen omnibus packages passed both chambers in the 6-day session. The packages that passed both chambers include energy, mass transit revenue, and a bill that places civil penalties on the use of excessive force by federal agents conducting immigration enforcement. Specific to energy, UCCI Executive Director Ryan McCreary had forwarded out to the counties a summary of how the counties will be impacted by these bills. I won't go through his entire list, but a few that are pertinent to Lee County. If this bill is passed, and it is expected to be signed by the governor, it will require that all siting approval or special use permit applications for wind and solar to be reasonable, and fees that do not exceed 5,000 a megawatt up to 125,000 are presumed reasonable. And building permit fees that do not exceed $5,000 a megawatt up to 75,000 are presumed reasonable. This is for the petitioning fee, that really won't have any impact on us. It's the building permit fee side that will have an impact on us. This is much lower than what we are requiring. Also in this bill, it would prohibit a county from imposing a deadline to start construction that is less than 5 years. Currently, we require companies to come back after 3 years to be determined to be substantially underway. Under these new rules, they will have 5 years in order to achieve a building permit. It will also establish backstop county zoning standards for energy storage system, including permit fee caps, setback distances, decommissioning requirements, and other provisions. On the positive side, though, it will lift the moratorium on nuclear, and I see that as a positive. It might get us away from some of the solar that we have going on here in the county. That is all I have, unless you have any questions.
Just comments is all I have, is that I'm gonna try and keep them to myself. So, other than, they're releasing the nuclear, but there's no subsidies available for nuclear. It's all to the, and that's what generates the most power. So that's probably what I would like to throw out there. But I'll keep the other stuff to myself. So let's move into the action items then. So, and in regards to 25 PC 80, is there a motion to move petition number 25 PC 80 with the corresponding resolution to the executive committee for inclusion on the November County Board agenda? Moved by Dean Friel, seconded by Chris Norberg. Any discussion on this particular one? No discussion. So, okay, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All right, let's move down to PC 81. So is there a motion to move petition 25 PC 81 with the corresponding resolution to the executive committee for inclusion on the November County Board agenda? Moved by Dean Friel, seconded by Chris Norberg. Any discussion on that one? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All right, let's move down to petition 25 PC 82. So is there a motion to move petition 25 PC 82 with the corresponding resolution to the executive committee for inclusion on the November County Board agenda? Moved by Dean Friel, seconded by Keen Hudson. Any discussion on that? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so to the zoning hearing officer meeting dates. Is there a motion to move the resolution for the zoning hearing meeting dates for the fiscal year of 2026 to the executive committee for inclusion on the November County Board agenda? Moved by Dean Friel, seconded by Chris Norberg. Any discussion on those, on that resolution? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried on that. Now we've got the Regional Planning Commission meeting dates for 2026. Is there a motion to move the resolution for the Regional Planning Commission meeting dates for the fiscal year of 2026 to the Executive Committee inclusion on the November County Board agenda? Moved by Dean Friel, seconded by Chris Norberg. Any discussion on that? Okay, no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. I have no unfinished business, no new business, no executive. Is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Chris Norberg, seconded by Dean Friel. Any discussion on that? No discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.